Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. There was a lot of great movies last month, and I'm going to be going over most of the top movies that came out. This is my new series called Monthly Movie Recap. Every month I'm going to be recapping all the best and worst movies that came out each month. I'm going to be going over a general review of each movie and explain what I didn't and did like about them each. I'm also going to be giving some side mentions at the end, so stick around for that. For a quick disclaimer, I haven't watched all the movies that came out this month. Because it's kind of hard to watch hundreds of movies in just 30 days. But I did watch a lot of the really good ones and the really bad ones, as well as interviewing numerous people and counting their opinions. Websites used for research include The Numbers, IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes. If you're interested, they'll be linked in the description. So grab a snack, sit back, and relax as we go through this long journey through the best and worst movies of March 2024. Let's kick things off with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the follow-up to Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's a role-licking adventure packed with action, humor, and eye-popping visuals. That said, some die-hard fans took issue with the recycled villains from previous installments, which made the plot feel a tad disjointed. Still, the film managed to pull in a hefty $108 million globally, with an opening weekend haul of $2.5 million. Directed by the talented Gil Cannon, this star-studded flick boasts performances from the likes of Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, and Finn Wolfhard. While it may not be hailed as a cinematic masterpiece, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire delivers a solidly entertaining ride, especially when enjoyed with pals on a laid-back movie night. Next up is Immaculate, a horror film that fails to deliver on its promises of terror. The story is centered around a woman discovering dark secrets in a new Italian home. It falls flat in its lackluster execution and unconvincing scares. Despite its disappointing performances, Immaculate managed to earn $12 million worldwide, though its opening weekend haul was a modest $5.3 million. Directed by Michael Mohan, the film stars Sydney Sweeney, Alvaro Morte, and Benedetta Porcaroli. While horror enthusiasts may find some entertainment value in Immaculate, overall, it fails to leave a lasting impression. Unlike Immaculate, Kung Fu Panda 4 delivers a thrilling, fun experience. With a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb, it's an amusing movie. For me, it's easy to watch. Kung Fu Panda 4 allows me to sit back and watch the action, fight scenes, people kicking butt, etc., without the more serious tones that typically accompany action movies. The movie is playful at almost all times, but the drama is still sustained when it needs to be. The movie wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. It's pretty highly rated by critics to audiences alike. Oftentimes, when movies start getting part 3s and part 4s, it can be quite unnecessary to the story, and I think a 6 out of 10 is a fair rating. The best parts of this movie are the voice acting, with some unexpected funny lines.
Kung Fu! Woo! That's bad. Oh, getting worse. Woo! Yeah. Ah, come on!
Some of the lead cast are Jack Black, Awkwafina, and Viola Davis. I have to say, it is a bit of a step down from the previous films before, mostly because the previous films were much more highly rated, and I would only really recommend this movie to kids or a family. Turning to Outlaw Posse, we find a lackluster Western-style film that fails to leave a lasting impression. Released on Prime, the movie follows a formulaic plot of an outlaw seeking stolen gold, offering little in terms of originality or excitement. Despite its shortcoming, Outlaw Posse managed to garner a rating of 6.1 out of 10 and an audience score of 89%. Directed by Mario Van Peebles, who also stars in the film alongside with William Mapother and John Carroll Lynch, Outlaw Posse struggles to stand out in a genre filled with memorable classics. While it may appeal to some die-hard Western fans, it ultimately fails to make a significant impact. Now, my dad is a big Godzilla fan, and I guess I picked up that trait from him, because Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire was great. This is a sequel, but the film does a pretty decent job recapping previous films, so you aren't required to watch the previous films. Catching it on March 29th was a bit of a challenge, but boy, was it worth it. Now, I'll admit, the storyline might not be the most groundbreaking, but, that's par for the course with Godzilla movies, right? Where this film truly shines is in its jaw-dropping special effects and pulse-pounding action sequences. Godzilla and Kong, they look downright terrifying and lifelike. The fight scenes, epic, every punch and more expertly choreographed. It was a bit unbelievable at some points because, you expect these giants to move really slow, but they end up moving like humans, very fast, punching very fast, and it is a little unexpected. With an impressive opening weekend haul of $80 million and a worldwide box office of $194 million, this movie is no joke. Sure, it's got its critics. I mean, IMDb gives it a 6.7 out of 10, and it's scored by 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'd personally give it another point because it was really entertaining, and it's clear people agree with me with the 92% audience score. Directed by Adam Wingard and featuring stellar performances from Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and Kaylee Hoddle, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is a must-watch for action aficionados and adventure seekers alike. Moving on to Amelia's Children, we encounter a horror mystery film that fails to deliver on its premise. Despite its intriguing setup of a son searching for his long-lost mother, the movie descends into a convoluted mess involving witchcraft and nonsensical plot twists. With a lackluster rating of 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb and dismissal box office earnings, Amelia's Children struggles to leave a lasting impression on audiences. Directed by Gabriel Abrantes and featuring Alba Batista, Carlota Cota, and Annabella Moreira, this film serves as a cautionary tale of pitfalls of the horror genre. Now, let me tell you, Arthur the King is a wild ride of emotions. I found it to be an absolute roller coaster of feelings, clocking it at a solid 7.1 out of 10 with a respectable 69 critic score and an impressive 97 audience score. This movie struck a chord with the viewers. Its opening weekend brought in a decent $7.6 million and eventually raked in a total box office of $19.2 million. Directed by Simon Sullen-Jones and boasting a stellar cast including Mark Wahlberg, Natalie Emmanuel, Paul Guilfoyle, and Simu Liu. This film fires on all cylinders. The acting, storyline, visuals, you name it, they nailed it. At its core, Arthur the King tells the heartwarming true story of a group of runners and their bond with a stray dog, delivering both warmth and excitement in spades. Surprisingly gut-wrenching at times, this movie garnered rave reviews from audiences far and wide. If you got a soft spot for our four-legged friends, consider this a must-watch. Trust me, after watching Arthur the King, I have walked away a changed man. But unfortunately, not all films succeed in capturing the audience's imagination, as evidenced in Imaginary. This horror film, released on March 8th, fails to deliver on its intriguing premise of an imaginary friend coming to life. With a lackluster rating of 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb and scathing reviews from critics and audiences, Imaginary struggles to find its footing in the crowded horror genre. Directed by Jeff Wadlow and featuring Tegan Burns, DeWanda Wise, and Tom Payne, Imaginary serves as a movie of honestly wasted potential because they had a lot of good actors, a big budget, and with just a better story, this movie could have projected much better from the 4.8 out of 10. Overall, it's best to avoid this forgettable fright fest and seek out more satisfying cinematic experiences. Better than Imaginary, we've got next Cabrini. Now, let me be real with you. This movie didn't quite hit the mark for me. It leaned heavily on religious themes, which may resonate with a specific audience, but left me a bit underwhelmed. Despite raking in a $7.1 million on its opening weekend and a total box office of $18.5 million, its 7.9 out of 10 rating and impressive 91% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes didn't quite align with my own experience. Sure, the storyline had its moments of intrigue, but the execution fell short of expectations. The cast, led by Christiana Del Anna, John Lithgow, and Romana Megora Vergano, did a commendable job, but it wasn't enough to salvage the overall humdrum feel. While some may find solace in its message, I found myself yearning for more depth and authenticity. If you're torn between Cabrini and Arthur the King, let me save you the trouble. Go for Arthur the King. It offers a more richer, more emotional resonant narrative that's worth your time. At number 2's Prey, it's a whole jumbled plot, from gang members threatening a couple's lives to the couple fending off from a lion. It has a $6,000 worldwide box office and got a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb with a 81% audience score. The story is completely off the rails for this one. You can't follow a single part of it. The only thing that I liked about Prey is the beautiful African nature footage. Don't watch. And now for the crown jewel of our lineup. Dune Part 2 takes the top spot. This movie is nothing short of phenomenal. Having just experienced it in theaters, I can confidently say that it's the epitome of Denis Villeneuve's vision for Dune. Each frame is a masterpiece, capturing the vastness of the desert and the rich culture of Dune with unparalleled artistry. From breathtaking sunsets to intense battle sequences, every moment is sheer brilliance. Boasting an impressive $82 million opening weekend, and a staggering $626 million total box office as of now, it's clear audiences couldn't get enough. IMDb rates it 8.8 out of 10, though I expected even higher. Rotten Tomato critics and audiences alike showered it with praise, earning a 93% critic score and a 95% audience score. Directed by Denis Villeneuve and starring Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, and Austin Butler, the performances are outstanding. The story is gripping yet easy to follow, making it a standout favorite. Without doubt, Dune Part 2 earned this place as the best movie of March. But you know how it goes. For every stellar movie out there, there's bound to be a real stinker. Taking the crown for the worst of the bunch, we've got the American Society of Magical Negroes. Now, the premise may sound intriguing enough. A young black man gets roped into a clandestine group of magical folks dedicated to making white people's lives easier. But let me tell you, the execution fell flatter than a pancake. Despite the potentially thought-provoking concept, the movie was an absolute snooze fest. The message, you may ask? It was lost in transition, and it felt out of touch with the times and failed to hit the mark. IMDb wasn't too kind, slapping it with a dismal 2.4 out of 10 rating, and Rotten Tomatoes critics weren't any forgiving, handing it a measly 29%. Directed by Kobe Libby and featuring talents like Justice Smith, David Alan Grier, and Ali Bogan, the acting was probably one of the most redeeming qualities of this movie. But even stellar performances couldn't salvage this sinking ship. With an opening weekend haul of just $1.3 million and a paltry worldwide box office of $2.4 million, it's safe to say that this one bombed big time. With a better storyline, who knows? Maybe it could have been a better contender, but alas, it missed the marks by a long shot. But hold on a sec. We've got a couple more flicks to chat about before you head out. First up is Spaceman, which hit Netflix on February 23rd, though I'm sneaking it into our March roundup, since we missed last month. Clocking in at a modest 5.7 out of 10, this one's a bit of a head-scratcher. Now, I'm usually all in for space adventures, but this one left me feeling a bit perplexed. The story was a bit of a maze, and it ended up with more loose ends than a frail shoelace, and no sequel in sight. Directed by John Rank, with Adam Sandler, Paul Dano, and Carey Mulligan leading the charge, it's a mixed bag. If you are really interested in sci-fi stuff or just like adventure movies, it might be worth a watch. But otherwise, I'd say give it a pass, as there's nothing really interesting for anyone else. Now here's a surprise contender. Knox Goes Away. This one started with a whimper, sitting at a dismissal of 4.3 out of 10 IMDb when I first started drafting this video. But it clawed up its way to a respectable 7 out of 10, with a 58% Rotten Tomatoes score, directed by Michael Keaton, who also stars in the lead role, alongside heavyweights like Al Pacino and James Marsden. This one got some serious pedigree. Sure, the performances might not blow you away, but the story, it's got heart. It's about this hitman who gets diagnosed with a very different form of dementia, and it really shows his way on trying to get his son back, actually. I honestly thought it was really cool, and it's a pretty good mystery. This one is worth a watch. And finally, we come to Roadhouse, the prime remake of the '89 classic. Things started off promising, but then ended along Conor McGregor to ruin the party. His over-the-top performance halfway through led me cringing in my seat, not in a good way. Despite a decent 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, this one falls flat. It was directed by Rowdy Harrington and starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Williams. The story is a far cry from the original, and while the action is decent, it's just not enough to salvage the film. If you're in the mood for a mindless action or a movie night even, you might find something to enjoy here, but otherwise, I'd say skip it and just stick to the original. And that's it for this episode of Monthly Movie Recap. Overall, I'd give this month about an 8 out of 10. Dune made it worthwhile. I had a lot of fun making this video, but honestly, it was a bit challenging because I've never made this kind of long video before. So let me know what you guys think of the series. Should I continue? Tell me in the comments. Also, I want to let you guys know that I'm working hard on starting a gaming channel with just some chill posts, and I plan on making an Elden Ring video once I get the sound design figured out. The channel will be linked in the description if you're interested, although I haven't posted anything yet at the time of writing. This video is my longest yet, so be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Well, until next time, I'll catch y'all in the next one, and I'm gonna go take a sip of water. Peace.